The world does not welcome human life. It tolerates it briefly, conditionally, and often brutally. Long before cities, before borders, before recorded history, ancient humans stepped into environments that are fundamentally hostile to their biology. Vast ice plains where the sun barely rises. Deserts where the ground itself radiates heat like a furnace. Mountain ranges where oxygen thins and storms arrive without warning. These landscapes are not empty. They are active forces, constantly stripping energy from the human body. Survival begins with exposure. A naked human, standing still at -10 degrees Celsius, can lose consciousness in under 30 minutes. Wind accelerates this loss exponentially. At just 20 kilometers per hour, wind chill can double the rate at which heat is pulled from exposed skin. Moisture makes it worse. Sweat, rain, snow. Water conducts heat away from the body nearly 25 times faster than air. The physics are merciless. Heat moves from warm to cold. The human body produces heat internally, roughly 100 watts at rest, more when active, but this output is limited. Once environmental heat loss exceeds metabolic production, the body begins to fail. Shivering is the first emergency response, converting muscle movement into heat, but it consumes enormous energy. Calories burn, fat reserves shrink, weakness follows. Ancient humans feel this balance instinctively. Cold is not discomfort, it is countdown. In hot environments, the threat reverses but remains just as deadly. At temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius, the body relies on evaporation, sweat, to cool itself. But evaporation requires water. Without shade and airflow, core temperature rises. Enzymes fail. Organs shut down. Heat stroke becomes fatal in hours. Between freezing and overheating, the margin for survival is thin. Clothing and fire help, but they are temporary defenses. To survive consistently, humans must reshape their relationship with the environment itself. They must build shelter. Shelter is not decoration. It is environmental engineering. The earliest shelters are not defined by walls or roofs, but by placement. Humans seek terrain that already works in their favor. Rock faces that block wind, shallow caves that moderate temperature, depressions that trap warm air. Geography becomes material. Soon, they begin modifying the ground itself. Earth sheltering emerges independently across continents because it obeys universal physical laws. Soil is dense. It moves slowly. Just 1 meter beneath the surface, temperature fluctuations nearly disappear. In cold climates, this means warmth retained from summer. In hot climates, it means coolness preserved from winter. By placing living spaces partially or fully underground, ancient humans reduce heat loss by more than half. Wind becomes irrelevant. Solar radiation is filtered. The Earth becomes a thermal battery. These structures are not accidental.
How stable do you think this log is?
Entrances are narrow and often angled, reducing direct airflow. Roofs are thick layers of timber, grass, clay, and soil, each adding insulation and mass. Rounded shapes minimize surface area, slowing heat exchange. Every design choice reduces energy loss. Even the scale matters. Smaller interiors mean less air to heat. Lower ceilings trap warmth where bodies exist. Sleeping platforms are raised above cold ground, often packed with insulating materials like reeds, fir, or dried grass. The environment outside remains violent. Storms collapse weak structures. Snow loads increase roof pressure by hundreds of kilograms. Rain erodes foundations. Predators test boundaries. Failure is immediate and unforgiving. This is how knowledge forms. Each collapse teaches load distribution. Each cold night teaches insulation. Each suffocating fire teaches ventilation. Shelter evolves through error, loss, and memory. Fire introduces new complexity. It provides warmth, but demands oxygen. Without proper ventilation, smoke accumulates. Carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas, silently kills. Ancient builders learned to size openings precisely. Smoke holes are positioned above fire level. Draft paths are shaped by stone and earth, guiding hot gases outward without pulling warmth away from occupants. This balance is delicate. Too much airflow steals heat. Too little steals breath. Shelter becomes a living system, one that breathes, stores energy, and protects fragile human biology from a hostile world. In polar regions, snow itself becomes structure. Compacted snow traps air, making it a surprisingly effective insulator. Igloo interiors can remain above freezing while outside temperatures drop below -40 degrees Celsius. Heat from bodies and small lamps is enough, because the physics are correct. In temperate regions, pit houses dominate. Floors sink deep, walls thicken, roofs blend into the land. From a distance, these homes disappear, camouflaged not for stealth, but for survival. In deserts, shelters invert the logic. Thick earthen walls delay heat transfer. During the day, the interior remains cool as the walls absorb heat. At night, that heat is released slowly, reducing temperature shock. Shade, mass, and time become allies. What unites these designs is not culture, but constraint. Physics dictates form. The human body dictates tolerance. Everything else is optimization. Inside shelter, something changes. The nervous system relaxes. Hands regain dexterity. Thought extends beyond the immediate moment. Planning becomes possible. Tools are repaired. Knowledge is shared. Children survive long enough to learn. Shelter does more than block cold or heat. Creates a stable pocket in time. A space where the future can be imagined. This is the foundation of human endurance. Before agriculture, before cities, before technology as we define it today, ancient humans mastered the most difficult engineering challenge of all, maintaining life within an indifferent universe. They do not conquer the environment. They shape themselves around its laws. And beneath earth and stone, in shelters carved from necessity, humanity learns how to remain. Fire is more than light. It is life made visible, heart made tangible. Ancient humans understand this intuitively. A single flame can mean survival. A single mismanaged ember can mean death. The physics are precise. 1 kilogram of dry hardwood releases roughly 16 megajoules of energy as it burns. Uncontrolled, that energy disappears into the night, fueling nothing but smoke and risk. Controlled, it becomes heat, light, and sustenance. The challenge lies not in producing fire, but in engineering it. Early humans craft hearts with an understanding born of repeated failure. Fires are recessed into the floor, reducing convective loss. Stone rings or clay boundaries absorb heat, slowly radiating it into the surrounding air. Some cultures take this further, channeling hot gases beneath raised sleeping platforms, a primitive form of radiant floor heating. Here, heat lingers, lasting hours after the fire itself has burned low. Efficiency is not luxury. It is survival. Ventilation is the invisible engineering of fire. Too little airflow, and carbon monoxide accumulates. Too much, and precious heat is carried away by drafts. Smoke holes are adjustable. Their position and diameter are tested season after season. They must allow gases to escape while preventing cold air from entering. Every vent is a compromise, every opening a precise calculation, often learned through trial and error. Fuel management becomes a seasonal discipline. Wood is harvested, dried, and stored before the first snow. Dung, peat, and other combustible materials are prepared as secondary reserves. In treeless regions, fuel becomes a currency of life. Calculations are exact. Misestimate by even 10%, and winter may consume more than the family can supply. Ancient humans know burn rates intuitively. 1 cubic meter of hardwood provides roughly 2,000 kilocalories per hour. 1 cow contributes about 1,000 watts of metabolic heat in a confined space. Every calorie counts, every watt is harnessed. Heat is augmented, sometimes unintentionally, by living companions. Animals are integrated into survival systems. Livestock are housed alongside humans, separated by simple partitions.
This one is
Their
heavy.
body heat
Hang it
becomes
here, quickly.
shared energy. The respiration of large mammals adds warmth, their movement circulates air. Even the simple act of clustering together at night, humans and animals alike, minimizes heat loss. Clothing systems mirror these principles. Wool, fur, and layered skins trap air, providing insulation with remarkable efficiency. Loft, just a few centimeters of trapped air, can reduce heat loss by 30 to 50%. Inner layers wick moisture, outer layers block wind. Every stitch, every seam, every overlap is a controlled variable. Wet clothing is lethal. Drying racks are positioned near hearths but not too close. Fire can destroy as easily as it protects. Daily routines revolve around energy optimization. Work is scheduled during daylight to minimize metabolic heat waste. Activities are compressed into blocks, reducing unnecessary exposure to cold. Nights are spent in minimal movement. Meals are timed for caloric efficiency. Stews dominate, cooking bones for marrow, concentrating fat, and maximizing digestible calories. Fat, with 9 calories per gram, becomes the most valuable resource. Protein and carbohydrates are essential, but in extreme cold, fat is insulation made edible. Storage systems reflect this same logic. Food is preserved with airtight pits, covered with insulating soil, sometimes layered with snow. Underground caches stabilize temperature and prevent spoilage. Ice and snow are used deliberately in some regions to slow decomposition. Fuel, too, is stored strategically. Logs are arranged to dry while remaining shielded from precipitation. Ash is saved as an insulator, charcoal as a reserve fuel. Nothing is wasted. Everything has a role in the survival machine. Fire management is rhythm as much as technology. Continuous burning is avoided because it consumes fuel unnecessarily. Instead, short, intense fires charge the thermal mass of the shelter. Stones absorb the heat, earth layers retain it. When the fire dies, warmth remains. Ancient humans have, in effect, invented heat storage systems, the precursors of central heating. Even airflow is orchestrated. Cold air sinks, warm air rises. Sleeping platforms are elevated. Vents are positioned to direct air movement precisely. Smoke is directed away from living spaces, yet heat is recycled within walls and floors. Windows, when present, are small and double-layered with hides or ice panels. The interior climate is carefully maintained, a balance of oxygen, warmth, and smoke-free air. This engineering extends to the layout of entire shelters. Paths are compacted to prevent snow accumulation. Entrances are labyrinthine, forcing cold air to lose energy before reaching interior spaces. Doors are small, and the act of entering requires intentional movement. Every motion costs energy but preserves heat. Each structural choice is an energy-saving measure. Psychology is embedded in these systems. Fire is both utility and comfort. Its glow reassures, its crackle signals life. Shared warmth strengthens bonds, fosters storytelling, and preserves knowledge. Inside, humans conserve both body heat and mind heat. Time itself is structured. Daily and seasonal cycles are mapped to survival imperatives. A misplaced meal or missed fire tends to more than hunger. It undermines trust, routine, and morale. Efficiency extends into risk mitigation. Tools and clothing are repaired promptly. Weak logs are replaced in hearths before winter. Snow loads are anticipated, entrances reinforced. Children sleep near heat sources. Elders are shielded from drafts. Energy in every form is precious. Every choice, from platform height to the arrangement of stones around a fire, is calculated to reduce loss. Survival is a system of systems. Fire, shelter, clothing, food, daily routines, all are integrated. Heat from one source complements another. Airflows complement thermal mass. Animal and human metabolism are woven into the network. Nothing is accidental, nothing is isolated. Ancient humans construct homes that are machines, designed not for beauty, but for endurance. And yet, emotion threads through every design. Fire nurtures stories, laughter, learning. Warmth allows thought to stretch beyond immediate survival. The home becomes not just a machine for life, but a container for civilization itself. Every ember is measured, every shadow accounted for, and every night spent inside is a victory against entropy. Outside, the storm rages. Cold, wind, and darkness persist. But within the shelter, human ingenuity
Secure the
reshapes
flap.
physics.
We have to get these
Heat is
reinforced before it
stored,
hits full
recycled,
force. Hurry!
amplified. Energy flows are controlled. Survival becomes predictable, almost manageable. The shelter is no longer passive. It is active. It is alive. It breathes, responds, and protects. In this way, ancient humans engineer life itself. Every stone, every fire, every layer of insulation is a deliberate response to the environment's cruelty. These systems are not primitive. They are precision engineering born from necessity. Survival here is both technical and emotional. The shelter is a heart. Fire is its pulse. Clothing and fuel are veins. Food is energy circulating through the system. Human life depends not only on strength or willpower, but on the mastery of these systems. Those who understand them endure. Those who do not perish. By winter's deepest, most relentless nights, survival is no longer instinct. It is design. It is engineering. It is humanity's first triumph over nature's indifference. Winter is a quiet conqueror. It stretches days into darkness, silences the landscape, and confines humans within the walls they have built. The wind howls outside, indifferent to effort, indifferent to hope. Inside, warmth is measured, fuel is rationed, and human endurance is tested not only in body, but in mind. Survival in these conditions is never merely physical. The body can endure astonishing cold or heat if properly insulated, fed, and sheltered. But the mind is vulnerable. Weeks, sometimes months, pass with little contact beyond the people within a shelter. The horizon disappears under snow or sand. Darkness dominates for 16, 18, sometimes 20 hours a day. Fear accumulates. Anxiety tightens muscles already weary from the effort of staying alive.
Before the next rain.
Humans must engineer not just heat, but psychological stability. Ritual becomes an instrument of endurance. Tasks are repeated in precise order, fire tended at set intervals, water collected and preserved, food prepared at fixed times. Every action signals continuity. Every pattern reassures the nervous system. In repetition lies survival. The mind, like the body, needs structure. Without it, despair is as lethal as frostbite. Social cohesion emerges as a second critical system. The shelter is more than a physical space. It is an ecosystem of humans, and the health of that system is vital. Hierarchies are balanced by necessity. Leaders distribute food strategically. Elders are protected, their knowledge preserved. Conflicts are minimized, not because morality prevails, but because survival demands cooperation. One body lost, one mind fractured, risks cascading failure. Generosity is not abstract virtue, it is a thermodynamic calculation. A well-fed, warm individual functions more efficiently, supporting the group's survival as a whole. Spiritual belief intertwines with these practical necessities. Fire is revered as sacred, not merely because it provides heat, but because it sustains life against overwhelming odds. Earth is treated with respect. Shelters are carefully constructed to maintain stability and safety. The invisible forces of wind, cold, and storm become objects of ritualized acknowledgement. Humans encode knowledge about natural systems into stories, myths, and rites. This is technology passed through narrative, a cultural architecture as crucial as stone and soil. Children learn within this framework, absorbing lessons not in classrooms but in daily survival. They observe the layering of furs, the maintenance of fires, the careful stacking of fuel. They note how elders move, how meals are rationed, how vents are adjusted. By watching, imitating, and slowly taking responsibility, they inherit both practical knowledge and resilience.
Mistakes are corrected gently because error carries consequences far heavier than discomfort. It carries life or death. Isolation sharpens perception. The world outside may seem infinite, threatening, unknowable, but within the shelter, boundaries are precise and comprehensible. Every stone, every timber, every ember has a purpose. The human nervous system, bombarded by an unpredictable external environment for centuries, finds solace in this controlled interior. Darkness no longer terrifies, it is contained. Cold no longer overwhelms, it is counteracted. This is not merely survival, It is the shaping of human perception, the construction of a psychological microclimate. Preparation for spring begins long before the thaw. Seeds are protected from moisture. Tools are repaired. Hearths are reinforced. Knowledge is explicitly transmitted. How to judge snow load, how to stack fuel efficiently, how to read wind patterns. Every lesson is a hedge against mortality, a blueprint for continuity. Humans transform winter into a laboratory for foresight. In learning to endure, they anticipate the seasons and create buffer zones against future uncertainty. When spring finally arrives, the external world seems almost alien. The snow melts, streams flow, predators roam freely again. Yet the shelter remains, a testament to human planning and endurance. The act of emerging is a triumph not merely of survival, but of cumulative intelligence. Every structure, every stored calorie, every layer of insulation, and every ritual contributed to this moment. Humanity has bent the laws of physics, not by conquest, but by understanding, anticipation, and meticulous design. The lessons of these ancient systems remain profoundly relevant. Modern humans inhabit insulated buildings, consume energy-intensive heating and cooling systems, and rely on supply chains to manage resources. Yet the principles discovered millennia ago, thermal mass, airflow, efficient energy use, clustering, preparation, are unchanged. Physics does not bend to convenience. Entropy remains constant. The ancient engineers teach that survival is not about tools alone, but about systems. It is about thinking in layers, redundancy, and efficiency. It is about aligning human behavior with the unyielding rules of nature. Perhaps the greatest legacy is philosophical. Ancient survival systems teach humility. Nature is not defeated, it is negotiated with. Shelter is a dialogue, not a declaration. Fire is a partnership, not domination. Every structural choice, every layer of insulation, every ritual of care reflects respect for a world far larger and more powerful than the individual. Civilization emerges not by asserting mastery over the environment, but by engineering harmony within its limits. Endurance is cyclical. Winter always returns. With it comes the same challenges: isolation, cold, scarcity, uncertainty. Humans must face these cycles repeatedly, refining systems with each iteration. Knowledge therefore becomes sacred. Stories, techniques, and observations are preserved as cultural capital. Ancient humans understood this implicitly. The survival of a group was inseparable from the survival of its accumulated knowledge. Oral histories, practical instruction, and apprenticeship formed networks that transmitted not only skills, but strategies for thinking about the world in ways that extended life itself. Even in extreme conditions, art and reflection persist. Carvings, decorations, symbolic objects, and storytelling emerge as byproducts of secure interiors. The shelter allows space for creativity, for memory, for identity. Life is not reduced to mere energy management, it contains meaning. The human capacity to endure is intertwined with the capacity to imagine, to share, and to remember. This balance, between mechanics and emotion, between warmth and thought, is what defines resilience. Ultimately, these ancient survival systems are a testament to human intelligence applied under pressure. They demonstrate the capacity to observe, experiment, fail, and iterate. They reveal the extraordinary ability to engineer life-supporting environments from the raw, indifferent elements of the planet. They are not primitive conveniences. They are early triumphs of applied science, of community engineering, and of adaptive psychology. The shelter, the hearth, the routines, the rituals, these are
the culmination of centuries of knowledge.